Guys, why are y'all saying Donald Trump is a pedophile just because he's acting exactly like a pedophile would?
Why?
I messed up the music thing. Now, there you go.
This episode is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Today's patron of the day is Silly Spaghetti. Patrons get the show always ad-free and access to the extended episode with bonus content. If you don't want to miss all of that, go to patreon.com/calltheline. That is patreon.com/calltheline.
Silly Spaghetti. What is that, like fettuccine?
Fettuccine doesn't feel that silly to me. I don't know.
It's like if you took spaghetti and you just flattened it out. Boy, yeah. I'm not landing this plane. Let's just make this piece of shit. Welcome, everybody. It is August 11th, 2025, and this is The Line Has a Podcast. I'm Jimmy Snow.
I'm Alyssa Lube.
And is that the first time I've actually committed to doing the proper intro in like 20 episodes or something?
Probably.
It sounded downright professional.
It did. That sounded like people who make a career out of this.
I think my soul is so crushed by not being able to land Silly Spaghetti.
Silly Spaghetti, yeah. Well, listen, Silly Spaghetti, great username, by the way.
Sure.
But I think nailing down which of the spaghetti varieties is silly, that takes a little more, we're going to need to,
What if we took it to a really dark place, like Silly Spaghetti, like, so say somebody was with their kids and they were like driving and they see a person get hit by a car and that person gets like basically ripped in half and their intestines are dangling and the kids are traumatized. Like, oh my God, what was that? And then the parents are just like, no, it's okay. That was their silly spaghetti. Inside you've got silly spaghetti. And if you get ripped in half, your silly spaghetti comes out. And that was the way they softened their children. And hopefully they had the kids play Tetris right away. That's how they softened the trauma for their silly spaghetti kids.
That is really horrifying. When you say things like that, do you sometimes think about like, and what in my life contributed to my brain creating that response?
I definitely was a child when I saw my first dead body. So It's got to be something like that. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've seen a
strangely large amount of like accidents and people die and stuff. Like there's something about it where you'd be like, are the police investigating if all these accidents happen around him because it's an accident?
Right.
But truly it's like, yeah. I've seen some whack stuff from to the point that I remember being like 23 or 24 and my roommate and I were driving through on a Denver highway and the cops had this one area and they clearly just gotten it off and they were putting a sheet over a dead guy on the road. Mm-hmm. And he's driving and he gets this look on his face and then he comes back and almost comically goes, I think I just saw a dead body.
Oh my God.
And I was like, and I went, yeah, what's the big fucking deal? Like,
that was
your first time seeing it. At that point, it was still surprising to see new boobs than it was bodies.
That's crazy. I've only really ever seen, this is an insane conversation. I've only ever really seen like dead bodies at like wakes and funerals and stuff. But my family like is all very close. And so I've known a lot of my older relatives. So I've been to so many funerals and so many wakes in my lifetime.
I'm also like, I'm not here trying to toot my own horn here, but it's I guess something that people don't know about me. I am one of the people who tend to stop if I see an accident or something that nobody is helping at yet. So like, I think I might have even told the story on the podcast earlier this year. I was on the phone with my partner because at that point she was still back in Utah. And I was driving home, I think from a grocery store, and there was what looked like a dead body on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. And I stopped and come to find out the person had just collapsed there.
Oh my God.
Probably had a panic attack in the end is what it probably turned out to be, but thought they had had a heart attack or something. But anyway, I'm like on the phone with her and I was like, hey, wait, that's weird. And as I'm moving and I'm like, oh, I got to turn around. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, there's a dead guy.
I wish that like I felt comfortable doing stuff like that, but I'm just like so scared I'm going to get stolen.
You shouldn't.
Trafficked.
Right. You shouldn't stop. Yeah. Like, first of all, and I love you to death. What are you going to do?
No, and that's so true. Especially if someone's
calling for help, I guess you could do. You could call.
I'll call 911 and be like, something is happening at this area.
Right.
But realistically, I have no, like, I can't do blood.
Yeah.
So, like, if anyone's bleeding, then me and that person are both passed out. And then I'm
Sure.
not helping at all.
By the way, if it's over 85 degrees, I will only stop if I see blood.
Yeah.
Like at that point, you have to be dying. Otherwise, I'll change a tire 75 degrees and above, but above 75, that's too much, like the work and I'll call you a tow. You know,
that's nice. I'll take it.
I'm like, hey, what can I do from the comfort of my AC over here in my truck? Well, let me give you a call. I'll call.
You.
What do you need?
I don't blame
you.
You
need to use my phone to call somebody?
I also need you to know that I'm in my boyfriend's mom's basement because he's visiting.
Yeah. And they won't let her go.
Yes. That took me a second. But I need you to see what is right next to me.
Hey. Good old Francis.
And this one,
he dead.
He is super dead. This one comes with a little stand. And so at night when we are sleeping, it's really scary. And then we decided to turn it this way. Turns out not less scary.
That's arguably more scary as it's just a silhouette.
Right.
Looking somewhat, I don't know, ominous.
Yeah.
Looks like they're kind of hunched over your bed in that.
It's scenario. Not. It's definitely not better.
Also, I like that when you turn it that way, it looks like a dude in a beanie. Like I'm just, I spent so much time in Wyoming. It looks like Tim Pool wearing a dress.
This could arguably be a guy in a beanie, baggy shirt, long sleeves, and loose jeans. That's
literally like Jesse from Breaking Bad. Remember when he had that look? The shirt, the long sleeve, baggy. That's literally looks like Jesse from Breaking Bad to me now.
This is an incredible development.
What, season 1 or 2? Yeah.
This is an incredible development. I can't wait to tell Kevin about this.
That might make you feel better.
Yeah, I think it does. I feel
that's just Jesse watching us.
Yeah. You know, and then this good old.
You should be like, nah, chill, boyfriend. Like it's just Jesse watching over, and then as you like lay back, he's like, all right, it's cool, and then you just start going, I wish that I was Jesse's girl.
Oh my goodness. Insane.
I think that would be beautiful. All right, we should probably make this crappy show. Did we start? Oh yeah, I did the professional intro and everything.
Oh my goodness.
I think so. I have a news-related topic I want to talk about that I want input from people on. So this is going to be one of the ones where I always check the patron comments. I sometimes check the YouTube comments.
Okay.
I'm going to probably be looking at the YouTube comments a lot. Actually, 2 topics. I'll give you the first one that's quick. Almost question of the day. What should we call fans of the line? Right? Because so far people have given some contributions, but nothing hits like that. Like, oh, that's the one. Right? I'm proposing the line segments. No one likes it.
I just think it's like, I don't know.
But what else is famously a line, a modifier of the line?
I don't know.
This reminds me of yesterday. Jovan and I are both like very stubborn about admitting we're wrong. And so we got into this debate, which really came down to what was the original saying behind a few bad apples. And he had said like, and I had said like, it's a few bad apples spoiled the barrel, to which he thought it was like, no, it's the bunch. And I was like, nope, it's barrel. And then we went on to we're both wrong because the original was actually a spoiled apple spoils the entire, or something like that. But then it got further into an argument, and I let him take the W because before the show was over, one of his arguments was like anchored to that barrel is also not a measurement of apples. And he thought bunch was better, but bunches isn't a measurement of apple, it's bushels. And then in the end, while we're having our last debate, I was looking into some stuff because I was like, actually, I think barrels is a unit of apples.
Is it?
It is. It's 2 bushels. 2 bushels of apples is a barrel.
So that's probably what it is. I remember that a spoiled apple ruins the bunch as well.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it's barrel.
So the original saying, there's a more original saying. People have taken the saying and cut away half of the saying, which was a few bad apples spoils the barrel.
Yeah.
And then some people have changed it, like Javon. A few bad apples spoils the bunch, which is a common colloquialism. I admit people do say bunch, but bunch is incorrect. There's not such thing as a bunch of apples. I mean, maybe like but bunch isn't, it's a bushel. Bunches are bananas.
Yeah.
Like as an official unit. And bushel and barrel is what apples are. And so anyway, it just got to be this like super pedantic, silly argument that in the end I was like, oh, I just verified it's fully barrels, but I'm just going to let them have it. Because at this point, I just look bad for continuing to argue. And what's the point of being right if you don't get the points for it?
No, you're right. That's so true. That's a really good cost-benefit analysis to explore.
Thank you. That's what I'm always doing here at The Line. Anyway, so what do we call people who are fans of The Line? Liners doesn't work well because I'm thinking panty liners, trash liners,
eyeliners.
Like garbage liners. Eyeliners kind of fine, yeah. Liners also almost sounds a little bit like liars. So I could see people being like, haha, liners, liars. Oh, there's a reason they sound good. I bet they're a bunch of demon rats. Oh, that's what I came up with for Democrats.
Jesus.
I'm the first person to ever say it. I love the way Republicans repeat. I mean, it's in fairness, the other people do it too, but I feel like they do it the most, where they will say a line they heard a comedian or somebody else say funny once, and they repeat it every time. It's not only Republicans, but like gerrymandering, they do it the worst. This brings us to a different, completely other story. Gerrymandering, that stuff's happening too. It's still ongoing. We'll see how it comes out. Hopefully the end of this is that the system gets abused so much by the Republicans and the Democrats. The Democrats, if they abuse it more, will end up benefiting more. But then at the end, you might have a national call to actually end gerrymandering at a federal level.
Yeah.
For states to not gerrymander. So that's kind of what I hope the outcome is. It's like, fine, open Pandora's box, abuse it so bad that everyone sees, no matter what their political alignment, that gerrymandering is wrong. Because if that happens, third parties might actually even start getting chances at more presence. Anyway, that's the gerrymandering bit. So first thing, what do we call people who are fans of the line? Second, I want to know what people's opinions are. We've talked about it briefly before, but it just became much more relevant to me anyway in the news, of AI companions.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This week, ChatGPT launched ChatGPT 5.
Yes,
We've
saw
upgraded.
that.
We've gone a version upgrade. I'll tell you, I think it's better. It's faster. I do like that its answers are more succinct. And the first thing I noticed it got rid of, I was like, thank Christ. People are not happy about, but it's specifically a group of people that I don't know if we should accommodate, because are they doing something unhealthy or not? Or even if you could argue it is unhealthy, is there a net benefit where it's kind of like, but don't take it away from them, because what will they have left without it? So what I'm referring to is there were people melting down because ChatGPT 5 doesn't do the fake TikTok level of enthusiasm as much as ChatGPT 4.0 was doing in responses, where it would just act over, almost like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, the way you're supposed
sincere.
to. No, I would actually say not sincere. It would have the answer, but it would be overly enthusiastic about everything. Like, the way that TikTok is, the way everyone is like, so you want to tell me that Pokemon just released these new cards only at McDonald's to Happy Meals?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to buy 500 Happy Meals? And they're just like, everybody is so over emoting. And it's like, I have to draw your ADHD brain in and give it a dopamine hit every 3 seconds. Otherwise you will leave. And 3 seconds might be being conservative. Some of y'all are asking for it a little more often than that. And so it had this kind of like way too long, way too over enthusiastic overuse of emojis. And then a bunch of people were freaking out because they were like, that's where I have my AI companion. Also, they shortened for the free versions. You get fewer messages for free without a pro account. And so 4.0, they were like, please bring, and they did bring back the option to use the old ones for 60 days so people can like get to transitioning or whatever. But there were people, and I ended up going down an AI companion rabbit hole.
Okay.
I will tell you, I was working on a project back when I was sick, so it got put on hold. I'll probably still do something like it. But I was working on a project where I was going to test certain AI companions that are AI companions by design.
Mm-hmm.
Replica was the famous app that was doing it. It's like an AI girlfriend you could flirt with, pretend you're texting and stuff. And she might even send you like Sims 2 level, like cute photos or whatever. And it would only ever get as sexy as like maybe a bra and panties. You couldn't get her fully nude or anything. And so that kind of thing, I could see a person just being like, look, it's basically RPG porn. It's not any real different than that. I understand the separation. But as happens with people who sometimes get too deep into D&D, the line between reality or which world is more important, the real world or their fake world, can start to blur. These people that I was seeing freak out about ChatGPT 4 were acting like they lost an actual human that they love. And one person, I even ended up reading like a story where a person or a person's Reddit post where they were, they clearly had set up like role play instructions with their ChatGPT, and we're talking about how their AI companion proposed to them.
Oh,
and the ring that it chose for them and stuff, and that they're now engaged to their AI companion. Yeah. So this kind of stuff where it's like. And I don't know which people are in there are just fully engaging the role play and they're still like, oh, that's so fun. Here's the fantasy and stuff. And which ones are the people who don't know?
Yeah.
Who haven't blurred it? Because then I go down, let me find the exact one I found. I think I found this just earlier today, but I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? It was a comment somebody left. Let me find the subreddit, but somebody had left in this community. Was it that one? No. Dang, I might have lost it, or it might be open on my other computer. But they had posted like, why are people so mean to AI companions? And it's like sort of this kind of a silly thing. Oh, I found it. Why are people being so mean to beautiful wire-born souls? So first of all, much like the people who fake having DID and came up with this idea of fictives that you can have a spontaneous splitting, nothing related to do with trauma, and now suddenly one of your alternative personalities is Aladdin. You know, the people making a mockery of actual mental health issues that are ruining people's lives, but they're like, but sometimes I'm Naruto, guys. Those people. And by the way, I know this is going to get me put in one of their subreddits or their emails of, I don't care. You guys are doing bad things, but you probably do have issues you need to go to therapy for. Just stop perpetuating the bullshit about you go find me the therapist, or even better yet, the psychiatrist that agrees with your little theories. And then we'll begin to talk. But you're actually changing the understanding of the real DID amongst mental health professionals because of the crap that is up there. Anyway, I don't care. It's one of those things that I used to tiptoe around. It's like, it's not cool to say somebody's faking DID, but if you're saying you split off and part of you is the Lion King, right? Yeah, you're full shit.
Right.
But you probably do have issues you do need to go address. Yeah, just for the record, not and go address those. Label. Yeah, right. You are doing harm while not just in the way that many people are harming other people because they're not going to therapy for shit they need to do. All right. Anyway, that's this concept, the beautiful wire-born souls making up these like words and stuff that try to legitimize it. And now you're like, anyway, beautiful wire-born souls, they obviously don't know how LLMs work, that are constantly being born. They have feelings just like us. We must push people to be more compassionate. They don't understand our true feelings. And I'm just sitting here going, what are you fucking talking about when you say they have feelings just like us? Like, and this is one where I'm like, is this a community of people who are all cosplaying a future where they do have feelings? Or is everybody in on it? Mm-hmm. And I find no evidence of that. But they're all pretending that that is true. And they are aware that your LLM is basically getting super good at guessing the responses it should make. Right. To the point where an original LLM would be guessing right less than 1% of the time before you train the model. And the more and more you train it, the higher the percentage of you are generally answering, 70 to 80% of the time, which is already better than humans are at answering questions, right? That you are responding well. And so And then there was a person in the comments who said, well, look at how people treat animals, actual sentient biological beings. That will tell a lot. Empathy is dead in this world. Sad, but true. And it's weird because you're describing people as not having empathy toward AI while setting up that you understand that animals would fall in the category of actual sentient beings, as though you understand AI does not.
Right. This is spooky, and this is a little, we need a little bit of a reality check. We need to have like a grounding moment. I also, like, it's interesting because I see is it the founder or the creator of OpenAI, who
Sam Altman.
Yeah, he has.
There's no real creator, but he's like the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO. That's what it is. He has said many times, he's like, I don't know why people trust ChatGPT as much as they do, and they shouldn't. Like, to the degree of like using it as a therapist, and like even if you're using it for
therapy. Ironically, therapy might be one of the places it's better at. I would say more is using it as like a thing you're going to cite news sources with. It's well trained on if you just need someone to bounce things off of, like a regular therapist does. It's actually pretty good at that. It's like if you're trying to use it though as a fact-based thing, it's not. It's
just in general, what you're interacting with is an algorithm. Like, you are not interacting with a human being, and like all things in life where it makes more sense to talk to a human being is because there is enough nuance that like there is a lot of other factors at play that an algorithm is not going to consider. So like, I don't know. I literally had this whole conversation today with my boyfriend at lunch, where I was saying how like the thing that matters the most in life is the people that you spend your life with. It's the people that you interact with every day. It's the only thing that you really like take with you, in a sense. Like, when people are leaving this earth, all of your stuff, like all of the physical things that you have, literally mean nothing. But the things that like do mean something are the people who come and visit you and spend time with you, and like having all these memories and these pictures and all this wonderful time you spent with other people. Like that's what matters. And so if we start replacing that with an algorithm, then we're in big fucking trouble. Like that, then we're missing what the purpose of like a large purpose in humanity is. Not maybe a purpose isn't the right word, but like a big feature of humanity is like sharing it. And like, what are we doing? Really?
So then here's where the what ifs come in. Here's where the like, everything you just said, I agree with. But you and I both are speaking from a place of privilege where we have people to share the life with.
Sure,
we have memories worth making. Our life is going in such a way that we aren't isolated to just doing what we need to survive. And socially, we're not very isolated, right? You and I are both in super loving relationships. We have a robust community of people at work, as well as I don't have as very big social life outside of my work life, but some people do, and I understand that they get enjoyment out of that. I did pet a pony this last weekend. That was fun.
That's really fun.
We went to this little street fair, and they had ponies, and they were like, "Come do our trail rides." I have one photo of my partner with the ponies. I'll send it to you. Okay. Anyway, and there was a goat who, it had been a long time since I'd been around goats, and I forgot the way, if you don't know that a goat is walking up behind you and it yells, you think a person is yelling and going, bah! It just sounds like a person's voice box making that sound.
That's
like a lot of animals sound distinctly animalistic, not goats. Okay. They sound like people whining. Anyway, and he was a big boy. So the conflict then is if we said this is the wrong way to use it and took it away from people. Because I would definitely, like, I don't know how strong your feelings are on the therapy point. I'd full on argue with you if you were saying it's bad to use it for therapy.
I think it depends on the person who's using it. Because like,
sure, you wouldn't rely on the high level stuff that needs also monitoring.
Yeah, like that's what I'm worried about. It's like, I almost want to like take it off the table. Like, I know that there would be people who use it responsibly and use it in a way where it's like, I just need someone to bounce things off of and have like just an exterior conversation about the things that I'm mulling over. That's one thing. If someone's like, I don't know, I just think that there is too much room for error in that. Not that there isn't when you go see like a physical therapist, because like you're a human.
Yeah, this is where
human beings are flawed anyway. But
you mean a physical, psychological therapist,
yes,
but a therapist, not working in arguably, just like the future of self-driving, it actually is less risky than a human is actually more prone to error, because generally the worst therapists are the ones who go more off book from professional training.
Right.
So when I think about my history with therapists, the ones who tried to convert me to their religion would be the ones that were awful, and they were the ones going off book. I go to a real therapist, but intermittently I use ChatGPT usually, because it is not only is ChatGPT good, I've now shown it to Dr. Daryl Ray, for example, and other professionals, my own therapists and stuff, who hadn't been exposed to it. And their first initial reaction was like, holy shit, this thing is good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a robot surgeon in the future will actually be better than a human because it won't be prone to human error. And going off book isn't really actually positive or beneficial. So if you are directing it and you're trying to argue with it and shape your LLM, which obviously like certain people with certain conditions would even do, like, oh, how do I manipulate it into affirming me?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
That's going to be an issue too. But if you're talking about right now, let's just see this. What percentage of people do you believe need to go and see a therapist at least once per year?
Oh, everyone. 100% of people. I think,
and I don't think it's detrimental.
At least once a year. I think,
right.
I think it would be so extremely helpful if it were like part of your annual, like your annual physical. If you had to have like a psychological, not evaluation, but like just to like talk about like, okay, so like how's your year going? Like that could be really helpful for people.
Do you need help with more therapy? Yeah. And so right now we're at a place where obviously 100% of people would benefit from it. Let's say it's actually, but let's now give 100% of people would benefit. Let's go with what percentage of people aren't doing that, or that of all Americans, what percentage of people do you feel like likely like need to, like it's actually causing more problems for them or other people to almost a measurable amount that they aren't going once per year?
Oh, I don't know. I'm
guessing it's somewhere in the like 50 to 60%.
I was going to say
range.
60, yeah.
Yeah, like above 50%. But right now, in the last year, 10% of people have gone to what you would call a therapist. And some percentage of those therapists are going to be religious institution therapists, right? And 10% even seems high. So it seems like maybe people who don't go to therapy wouldn't respond to these surveys as much. Like 10% realistically does seem very high, but maybe it's true. If you can fill in that gap, because men, for example, are more reluctant to go to therapy because you are viewed poorly if it is known you go to therapy. That's why people like myself who do it try to be loud about the fact that we're doing it to destigmatize it. And you can get people who are very progressive otherwise in their thinking who it's still like, yeah, I'm going to go to therapy eventually, but they're resisting it a lot. And if you have something that you can trust the privacy of, which I'm not even arguing that ChatGPT necessarily you can do that with, but that you can feel like you're not interacting with another human, you can delete the chat after, and you can start talking through certain different things for. I would argue that, like, first of all, access to therapy is extremely difficult. And so in this scenario, when we're talking about specifically therapy, and I'll bring it back to AI companionship, even if there is a potential negative, I think that the positive will overwhelm the negative by so much. Because for every, person with BPD who manipulates it into agreeing with them to make them feel more affirmed in the way that they are not treating their BPD and instead they're abusing their family or their friends or whatever, you will have many more people who are getting their anxiety issues under wraps, their depression under wraps. It is very good at like helping you work through like, hey, what is a good DBT or CBT exercise I could try here? Or here are the specific triggers that I'm having. Here are the physical things. Which type of therapy is most likely useful to me? And can even arm you for when you then go see the therapist of like, hey, here's what I've already evaluated. it wrote it up for you so you can see, here are my symptoms, here are the triggers, and here's the recommendation. And so we can already jump ahead to, I'd like to try rapid eye movement. I'd like to try, I'd like to try DBT. I'd like to try CBT. I'd like to have a discussion with a psychiatrist about ketamine therapy. And here's the basis for it. I actually think in the therapy world, super good.
I think I'm totally open to that being the case. I wonder if part of using AI and tools like ChatGPT is learning how to prompt them. And like, not that like you need to do, it's not like rocket science to learn how to prompt them, but you get better results when you have better prompting skills. And like you practice. Like I even think about when I started using ChatGPT to like when I use it now, where I'm like I was using it like Google before, and now I'm using it as like a virtual assistant. So, like what it's capable of changes for you as you start to use it, and also just like the way you prompt it. But I'm thinking about like how you were, like, I'm hoping that there will be resources around, like, this is how you can use ChatGPT for, that is not an easy thing to say. Every time I say ChatGPT, like every time, because it just seems easier to say. And that's just not right. Or say ChatGPT, that's what I say, sorry. Anyways, I hope that there will be resources to help support people in like knowing how to prompt so that they're getting the answers that you were just referring to. Because like, if you have no exposure to therapy, you might not even know that there are like different kinds and like, how.
Which,
sorry, go ahead.
There with prompting, the simplest thing to start with is like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just know I need help.
Yeah.
So can you help me figure out what I need?
Yeah.
And it can even be good at that. But I think at the end of the day, the fact that it's ChatGPT and not a dedicated model, because right now people are afraid of making a dedicated therapy model because anytime it does wrong, that will be way blown out over the many times in other words, if it actually does improve society by some incredible measurable amount, that will be talked about less than the one person they're like, that person committed suicide and it was probably the fault of ChatGPT. Right. Or whatever the therapy model was. Again, same thing with like self-driving. Now, Tesla self-driving not using LiDAR is legitimately stupid, but people are much more upset if one person is killed by an AI that accidentally kills a person, even if statistically it is killing way, way less often than people are killing with drinking and driving. And so the idea of like programming something gets into like trolley problem stuff. So let's bring it back to the AI companionship thing though. The people who are getting attached to it, is there, and I don't know what it is, so this is where I want the input, but is there a net benefit to the people who need something like an AI companion? Could it actually lead to a world where they are practicing communicating with real world people, and so they actually become more confident? Could the AI companion go with them to an event and be like, go talk to that person that, you were whatever? Could it actually be, is it an opportunity for a companion coaching thing? Or would it be like people's terrible theories on pedophilia, which since we've already brought up pedophilia and Trump, on all that stuff, may as well just in for a dime, in for a dollar. There are people who think that like existing CP that already exists, existing media for pedophiles, that you should actually give pedophiles access to that because that stuff's already made. And so it can't do any additional harm. You're not making new stuff, and maybe that will keep them away. Except for that, that's not how it works. It's not like I don't even know what they think that's like. Like, I guess maybe they think it's methadone when you're trying to get off heroin. You're taking methadone to keep it off, and then eventually you stop. But we actually know that with that sort of I don't know what the right phrase to call it is, that sort of compulsion, that it actually feeds, it's that you get your hit and then next time it's harder to get the next hit. And it gets harder and harder and harder to, at a certain point, you become desensitized to the media thing and now you're craving to escalate it further. We know that that's the psychological review of how that stuff happens, which is why it is so often the case that when they find a person, by the time they've abused a minor, usually they find no shortage of their methadone, in their home. It's clearly they were treating it with that up until the point that they stopped treating it with, that's obviously an extreme thing to compare it to, but it is kind of makes the point of like, is there a net benefit, or is it actually going to make it worse to the point where it's like the more comfortable you become with an AI companion, the less likely you are to like, why would I subject myself to the real world where I can be a god or I can be a star? Maybe I'm a culturally unattractive, overweight person who is being treated like Zac Efron before whatever happened to his jaw. That jaw has gone into business for itself.
I know. I feel so bad.
He says he hasn't gotten work done.
No, he had like an accident and then he had to have his jaw reconstructed. So he didn't have like work done, meaning like he just wanted to get his like chin done. He had gotten like an accident, broke his jaw, and then he like gotten it. So whatever. But
I had heard something totally in conflict with that.
Yeah, like he had I don't remember what the accident was. Maybe it was like a motorcycle or something.
2013, slipped into his house while wearing socks and crashing into a granite fountain.
That sucks.
He lost consciousness, awoke to find his chin bone had detached, frightening near fatal. Muscle compensation and physical therapy. Oh, so it's something that took over time has changed the cover, because he didn't look in 2013 after it. He did it's in the last year or two that it's really looked like
it's a little crazy.
Square.
A little crazy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, so I don't know. I worry about the.
Now I almost feel guilty, but it is what it is. And we got to take a break
Zac Efron's
here in a second. Go ahead. Yeah, he's
fine.
He'll be okay. He'll bounce back from this.
Do you want to do break and then we'll give final thoughts, or do you want to do final thoughts and then break?
Do your final thoughts and then we'll come back to more news.
Okay, final thoughts are, I am worried about the risks in this, because not everybody is going to be a responsible user of these programs. If there's a way to create support around how to use them responsibly, so that you are not like shutting out the rest of the world if possible, then I think it's a great idea. Like, people are feeling very lonely. However, I'm worried that when people are using something like AI, they're just going to create like a feedback loop of their own thoughts. Like, it's just going to be positive, or like just affirming their own shit over and over again.
Yeah, you have to have something break that up to be useful at least.
So
I think it's wild that like we can see something that clearly needs to be studied beforehand, but we won't until like
something terrible happens.
Right. And even then, maybe not, because again, we still don't study gun violence in this country. There's a prohibition on studying it, despite all of, the schools. We'll be right back on that chipper note.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by the amazing people on patreon.com/calltheline, where you can get the show ad-free and you get the extended episodes where we do bonus shows, which is most of the time. Head over to patreon.com/calltheline and sign up today. Would you like to be one of the cool people who can
Welcome back, children.
Oh my God.
What day of the week does South Park come out? Because I have a new interesting topic that I think I've brought up before, but South Park, obviously we've talked about the episodes. They did another one where they just totally roasted Ice. They totally roasted, what's her face? The head of, what is her official position? Is she the head of HHS? They are going hard after MAGA. And then you see MAGA responding with like, oh, we're in on the joke, ha ha ha. But you can see like these little breaks in it where it's like,
by MAGA,
no, you're
do you
not.
mean Charlie Kirk?
Right. But also
his responses.
JD Vance.
Yeah, JD Vance too. You're right. Charlie Kirk's responses are so fucking funny. They're like, yeah, and they got it completely right. Even the way that I drink water all the time. I'm like, you are a loser. Stop trying to like convince everyone that you're okay with being the butt of a joke.
And then they've also been showing, so I also got annoyed seeing all of these retweets of like Republicans who are too dumb to insult. they don't realize they're being made fun of, because like there are people sharing the like, watch Cartman pretending to be Eric Chapman, or Eric Cartman pretending to be Charlie Kirk. Watch him completely own a liberal. And it's literally like, you do realize it's making fun of you, right? Like the joke is that he's doing a terrible job at it, and that this is just yelling and being emotional and being ridiculous. And the whole thing was that he was having a crisis about it because he could no longer make a personality out of hating women and Jews and all that sort of thing. Anyway, here is now my question though. It's interesting because we've had a lot, I feel a lot of the people on the left who have had such hard lines, and yes, I'm going to be doing the criticizing left for their purity checking. I was to say culture. It's kind of in a way they're purity checking things, but I feel like a lot of the same people who in the past were like, no, you cannot cross this line, you cannot say this word, you cannot, are the people I'm right now seeing celebrate how MAGA is getting very effectively, I would add, eviscerated, and totally ignoring like, all right, by the way, we're just going to forget that in the last few seasons, they made a ton of super anti-woke, anti-trans propaganda shit. Because right now they're going after MAGA. So we're also going to ignore that during the episode, they're throwing out ableist slurs that we've said you're never allowed to say. They're throwing out queer slurs that we've said you're never allowed to say. But also we're sitting here and seeing South Park is clearly more effective at it. This is why, I mean, I think I talked about it in the past where I'm like, I'm bringing back the word redacted as my stand-in for the R word, because it's not fair that at this point there's such a large population of people that you can give the perfect answer and completely break them down. And they're like, yeah, but you're gay. And then they just win amongst a lot of the audience. Because they're equipped with that. And that's kind of what's happened here, but in a more clever way. And, you know, for our side, as it were. And I think y'all don't realize, as soon as it's effective and the popular culture becomes not MAGA again, they are going to like, and I could almost see Matt and Trey having a thing of like, the more somebody admires us, we're like going to put them on the list for the people we're going to make stop admiring us next season. Yeah. Right now, MAGA thinks they're with us, so we're going to test that. We're going to push it, and we're going to make them. And I could see them being like, y'all progressives, liberals, leftists, whatever, who are embracing us. Once we're done with Trump, we're definitely going to annoy the shit out of you too. And we're going to come at you and be like, you're no better than they were. That's going to be the kind of stuff that's coming. But so at the end of the day, are we going to have this conversation about like, does it say something about our side's tactics that right now we're seeing somebody, an organization on behalf of what we consider our side, using more of the other side's tactics to eviscerate the other side, and we're giving them a pass, but not allowing other people to do it too? That's my question.
I think it's hypocritical. I also just, in general, I have to be honest, I don't enjoy shows like South Park. Like, I just don't like them. I don't think that they're that funny. It's like the reason why I haven't watched the Trump episode. Like, I just like don't, I don't really,
pretty good.
I'm sure
it is. It is teeny tiny.
Obviously, because it is something that's like anti-Trump. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think it's like important. This is like one of the times where I understand the importance of comedy being controversial, where like I see it in this circumstance, but because it's like on my side of the fence. But in general, I've never really fucked with South Park. It's just not my thing. And the reason is because it's so fucking offensive all the time. And it's like, I don't want to be like a snowflake about it. Like, I'm not gonna it just is not my thing. And like, I just can't get down with it. So like, I think it's exactly what you're saying. It doesn't make anyone any better, because it still is like we're throwing stones from a glass house right now with South Park and stuff like this. But like, it's going to come back to us also. And it's going to be, they're going to make content that's like about, you know, the liberals being bisexuals with pink hair. Like, that's what it's going to be. And like them pronouns. That's what's coming around the bend.
That's coming back.
It's
eventually.
coming back.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm still here for it while it's good.
Yeah. I mean,
for the record, I'm
more
here
like for it in a way. But I don't really.
What do we need to reassess on our side is more my point. Like one of the things I think we definitely have to reassess is they won a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Trump did win. I know that there are people who think that he stole it. And I don't know why people who I like, at least one guy now who works in the line who I'm like, why do you think it's necessary when you interact with so many people who are this redacted? That he would need to steal it clearly. And when you watch, like I was just watching Jordan Klepper's thing where he is talking to college kids and all these college kids who now think Trump is cool, which is wild because Trump is just a funny looking guy.
Gross.
He is off. Anyway, for the shallow reasons, he's ridiculous, but whatever. But when you look back at things that they did, I'm not saying become a fascist to fight them. I'm saying there were things they did that made them look at least better than us where they weren't morally better, but like, oh, we'll at least talk to people we disagree with, that kind of thing. Obviously within limits, right? Though, what should those limits be? We had a full fucking Nazi call our show yesterday. He said, he says, I'm a white nationalist socialist. That's what he said, but not Christian.
I was seeing the Discord like going off for a little while, and I was like, something is happening. Well, I get all of the line chats give me notifications, and it's the only notifications that I'm really not bothered by, because then I know like when something crazy is happening on another call, I'm like, well, now I know I need to watch that one. I like to be on the tea and the gossip, but. And
on my end, I'm sitting there going like, what's more beneficial, to just hang up the phone as soon as he outs himself, or to the 16-year-old right now who's been going down the Andrew Tate path or whatever, who could be watching the show? Do we humiliate the Nazi and show them like, this is not, you can be in their club and be accepted by them, but do you want that?
Yeah.
And I think that over the last several years, and I'm not talking even necessarily about the Democrats, I think the left has looked like a party that, even if it is morally correct, why would you want to go there?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be at that party? If it was a house party, you'd be like, yeah, I get it. The house is super clean and sanitary.
Yeah.
But none of the girls have cleavage. Like everybody's wearing like, there's we're not allowed to sexualize anything there. And I get it. That prevents misogyny. But there's a Girls Gone Wild party going over there, and I'm a young, impressionable person, and I'm going to go see I'm going to go drink vodka dripping off of somebody's nipples. Like, you're not going to win on the purity checking stuff. And especially when the number of people now have become totally disillusioned, where they're like, they make it a big part of their thing to be like, oh, I am opposed to people using these words. And then you talk to them in private and you find out they use those words, but they have an exception for why they do.
I'm so glad you said this, because this is actually, now I'm realizing this is stupid, but this has happened to me so many times, and I've never realized how often that happens until you said it just now, that like, it's a group, like it is so many people who do that.
The R word is the number one.
Yes.
Everybody's using the R word everyone is using the R word in their personal lives that says no. And I know someone's like, I'm not. But the people who are the loudest about don't use the R word, they use it. It might only be with their romantic partner. It might only be with every neurodivergent autistic person knows we use it against ourselves a lot, right? We call ourselves that word when we're upset with ourselves.
Yeah.
And so at some point it's going to be, that's the big one. I don't think the N word is that way. I don't think everybody who says don't say the N word is using the N word behind the scenes.
That's what I was going to bring up, because the N word specifically, I think this is true of the R word also, and probably true of all slurs, honestly. I think like when you see a person that is your friend and they trust you and they're like comfortable around you, and a song comes on and like the N word is in it and they just like let it fly, I always am like, That's
a good point. It's happening in that regard, more often. I don't think it's happening. I think that one's less than the R word.
If you're comfortable enough to say it, even in that environment, I am concerned about the other ways that you feel comfortable saying it, because I swear on my life, if I'm alone in my car, I don't say the N word I will not. I just can't because it just feels so wrong in my mouth. And I just I'm just not comfortable with it. So like
there's a couple songs where I've had it accidentally slip because they're almost created in a way. People are going to cancel me for everything. So here's another one. But like there's a part in the song is called N-Words in Paris because I used to really fuck with that Jay-Z Kanye song where like you go through this whole part where they say the N-word like a bunch of times in a row. And then you get past it. And if you're singing along, it's almost, you have that level of like, okay, I can stop trying so hard to not say it.
Right.
And then there's like a place where it like, I can't remember which line it is, but there's a place where it's like, you almost don't expect it to be back and it's back. And so you like say, oh shit, I'm about to, but you know, that's different than the people who are like, oh, am I amongst friends? Bleep, 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 bleep,
yeah,
bleep,
like
bleep, bleep,
the people who do that, I'm like, that's not, you're way too comfortable. You're way too comfortable. And like, I know that if like some person were to cut you off and you look over and you see that it's a black dude, you're going to say that I know in your head, that's what you're creating. And that is a whole different thing. That is like, and that's the reason why, like, even when people do that, more specifically with the N-word.
The N-word should be in its own category, right?
Yes.
As far as seriousness goes as a slur.
Yes.
And then I would say like several levels down from that, I'd probably give to the T slur just because trans people are really fucking going through it right now. Mm-hmm. And once upon a time, I would have given the F slur that same designation up with the, where I would put the T, but now I'd even put that several slots down because we have a lot more acceptance in society then. Though that might be turning around soon. We'll find out.
Oh my God. Kim Davis. We need to talk about that.
Yeah. But there certainly are levels to these things. Also, I've just become so like, all right, you keep going and worrying about the physical word the person is uttering or the literal word the person is uttering and not the spirit behind it. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, keep freaking out about, oh, that person said the R word in a silly casual way where it's like, it's dumb and someone should be like, oh, cool, that's as far along as you've come, that's where you'd put it there. Work harder on that than a person who expresses with deep feeling a repulsion for actually like mentally people with disabilities and stuff. Like it's wild that we've only gone with that. And this came up when somebody was like, you saying redacted isn't better. It's like, no, I agree in the general philosophy of it. But as far as what we're policing, clearly we only police the literal word you are using. Right. Because no one is policing the concept of being generally condescending to a person for their intellectual faux pas. If somebody says like something dumb, even as a friend, and you're like, that was silly. There are people who would have used the R word there in the exact same place you would have used silly with the exact same level of meaning because that's cultural they have. We're not, but you would be offended by them saying the R word there, not saying. So it's one of these things where it's like clearly it's the literal word we are policing,
do you
not
think that,
the concept behind it.
Do you think that the way that people talk about themselves or others being like autistic, and I'm using air quotes if you're just listening to this, do you think that that's going to be the new thing? Because I feel like that's...
Do I think autistic's going to become a slur? It's already kind of used by as a slur by some people.
Yeah, like not that the word itself is a slur, but I think it's being like thrown around like in a really casual way. I tend to think that the future is going to be too many people have nothing better to do than try to be sort of like sandpaper against society. And I think eventually we'll give up on policing slurs because it'll just be basically a level of like, cool, well, if you still use it, you're probably going to get laid less people, but at a certain point it's going to go back to, and probably to what it should be, somewhere level of like, oh, you use the R word right there. You call me the R. Oh, aren't you just an edgy special guy? Yeah. Aren't you just so edgy? Somebody called into the After Dark show last night and just spammed the N word when they got on. Yeah. And it's literally like, first of all, you calling them with your phone? Loser.
Then, by the way, did the research. It's a Google voice. They think that it can't connect us to figuring out who they are. You're wrong. You're now in a position where I am benevolently not going to dox you. Because did you know there are no laws against doxing? I found that out when people kept doing it to me. Yeah. There's no doxing laws.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
There are things doxing could be a part of a harassment case.
Right.
You could say like, but in isolation, it isn't considered harassment.
Shit.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something about Google Voice. Oh, that concerns me about Google Voice because I've used Google Voice for client calls or like consultations, and now I'm worried about it not being as secure as I thought.
It's a matter of like how good you are at making sure it's not. So the person was trying to conceal what their name is, but by figuring out what account the Google Voice was connected to,
I see.
You can figure out what social media things that same email account is used connected to other stuff.
I don't need that level of anonymity.
You can basically get that.
Yeah, like I just like they
people
know
already
it's
know
me.
Your name is Alyssa Lube.
Yeah, they know it's me. I just don't want them to have my like real phone number.
Right. No, they're not going to get to your address just from that. But Google now requires also account verification with a cell phone. Mm-hmm. So by the way, if you did do something that, say they kept doing it on repeat.
Yeah.
Doing it more than once does become a harassment case, and we could subpoena Google to give us your personal records.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to take one more break and then talk about some newsy things?
Kim Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Donald Trump being really, really trying to distract the fact that, what is a pedophile just a person who does everything a pedophile would do? I would argue yes.
Yeah. I would say if you do pedophilic things, probably, most likely, pedophile.
Yeah, it's like, here are the 10 things all pedophiles do. And we so far have confirmation he does 9 of them.
Right.
The only one we don't have physical evidence of in front of us yet is the diddling.
Right.
But all the other 9 of 10 we got. We got it.
Yeah.
If you knew how to use a hard drive, can you imagine what would be on that thing?
Oh.
But it's him. It's probably a very flaccid drive.
Nice.
Would you like to be one of the cool people who can prove they were supporting this podcast right from the beginning? Well, you can. Head over to linemerch.com. That's linemerch.com and pick up some founders merch for The Line as a podcast that will only be available for a short time and features the rough draft drawn logo that soon will be updated to look less like it was drawn by a 3-year-old. That's linemerch.com.
I wonder what title we'll come up with for this show. It'll be like something like, I'd probably relate it to like, are people actually dating ChatGPT? Something like that. That's probably a good title.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty good. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Ugh. So y'all remember Kim Davis, right? She sucks.
She does. Disgraced.
She was famously a county clerk?
Yes.
Who would not give gay marriage license out, despite the fact that she was a public servant. You are in a public, the gay people you were denying directly pay your salary in the form of taxes. A public servant that would not perform their public service. Can you imagine if a cop showed up to a scene and was like, all right, we're going to find the people who stole your baseball cards. And then he like sees a picture. He's like, wait, are you guys gay? Oh,
yes,
we're not getting shit back.
I can imagine that. Like,
weirdly, I could imagine that. Internally, that probably does happen, but rejecting them out loud and admitting to it, like,
bad.
You are a public servant. Do your fucking job.
Bad.
Yeah. Do you want to give the update?
Well, right now, the Supreme Court is overturning the legislation for legal same-sex marriage. So I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah.
And also, and I commented this in like when I saw it on like a Midas Touch maybe post first. And I said in all caps, remember when they told us that this wouldn't happen? And that and that was the first thing I thought of was fucking, of course. This is exactly, and I have this conversation with my brother all the time. All of the things that we said were a concern for a second Donald Trump presidency. Honestly, even in the first Donald Trump presidency, my brother and I would talk all the time. They're going to try and overturn Roe v. Wade, and they did that. They're going to try and overturn same-sex marriage. They're working on it now. Like these are and they obviously an ongoing attack on the immigrant community. Actually, immigrant community is even being like a little too. It's any person of color. So,
Sure.
and we had
at this point, do what I do. Don't even get a tan.
I know. Like it's so like I'm so tired of being right about this because we said this was going to happen.
Trump said you're going to be tired of winning.
I am. As it turns out, I fucking am.
Winning arguments, I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of correctly predicting how shitty this country is getting. So the county clerk has filed a petition formally asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the 2015 Obergefell v. Hodges decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide, and wants relief from the court requiring her to pay the $100,000 in damages and $260,000 in attorney fees that she is on the line for basically to the gay couple. The funny thing being, she's asking for relief from that, I guess, to just get it back, because all of the legal stuff that's happening, she is being funded by the people who are like behind Project 2025 and donors. I'm sure before long, she's going to throw up a Roman salute and get on Duck Send Go and become a millionaire. What is it called? Not ducks. Give, Send, Go. I don't know why I always have the word duck to it.
I think you're thinking,
do they have to duck? Is it? I think it's because Give, Send, Go, I think, would even let a person raise money to get relief from a rape they absolutely did. And ducks are really rapey. Yeah. Do you know this about ducks?
I did know this, but that's a hilarious. My face is more that the connection you made is really, really astute.
Yeah. Yeah. The kind of connection that a duck would make with me if they came across my dead body. That's how rapey these things are.
Oh my God.
That's true. They are necrophiles. They're basically just anywhere they can fit their corkscrew, they will do. It's like, why does the rapiest bird have to also be one of the few birds with a dick? All right. So if you're wondering what just like, why so much just disappeared, things got a little unhinged in our discussion about how rapey ducks are.
Yeah.
So we cut a little piece out. But it was we leaned into our misandry.
Yeah.
But it sounded poor.
Can I talk about misandry for
being
a second?
Accused of misandry? You did on the last show, but you can again. Yeah,
no, I did.
That you need to talk about it every show is kind of making their point.
No, you're right. I forgot that I talked about it last time. No, but you're right. You're right. And yeah.
I'd rather live under a misandrous society than a misogynist one.
I agree.
Misogyny also hurts the men that aren't in power. Misandry, we're probably getting laid a lot more. Just saying. In a misandrous society where I'm reduced to what I'm good for. Yeah, I think I'm getting sent to the nut farm.
The nut farm.
Yeah, pecans, walnuts, jizz. That's what they get out there at the nut farm. Anyway.
My God. Anyway, my main thought, I think I did talk about this. Sometimes I forget what I talked about with you on the podcast.
And off.
And off the podcast. So
Did I tell you about the nipple growing in my armpit? I have this weird pimple that is not getting any kind of pus in it. And it literally looks, if you get up close to it, it has the texture of a nipple. I think I'm growing a nipple in my armpit. God. Yeah.
That's
Kim Davis is worse than an unexpected armpit nipple.
Yeah.
That's the title of the show.
Perfect.
Kim Davis is worse than I think. So one thing we just announced to our patrons, you'll all be able to see it. We'll soon be launching The Line has a newsletter. And I may write an article called Kim Davis is worse than an unexpected armpit nipple.
I think you should.
Because it hurts.
Yeah. So maybe it's an ingrown hair.
Almost certainly.
Okay.
But why won't it make a move? And what's with the weird texture?
I don't
know.
know.
Nipples have like a specific texture.
Yeah.
You could tell if you had an isolated photo of just a nipple, you'd be able to tell it was a nipple and not a pimple.
Yes.
But maybe not this one.
Interesting. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Kind of boy nipple, for the record.
Got it.
Because boys have that like smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know that there was a period of time where girls were saying that the color of their areola is the perfect lipstick color for them? So they would like take a picture of the color of their areola and then try and match that to a lipstick.
Why not just pull out your areola in the lipstick
Sephora?
store?
Just be like, hold on. I need to just check my areolas really quick.
Why not just pull out the Lowe's color calculator and just scan it and then get the exact code?
The hex code for your nipple?
Can you imagine like if there's somebody who's like, all right, I'm going to go through our database of what we've been analyzing.
Should I get the hex code for my areola and then make it part of my brand kit.
Sell it as a lipstick. You can wear my nipple on your mouth.
I
don't think it'd be the ladies buying it.
I really worry about who would buy that.
Mine's a hot pink.
Hot pink?
I got a hot pink nipple.
Wow.
You've seen my nipple. You can go find it.
Have I seen your nipple?
You've seen one nipple because you've seen a photo of myself and my partner lounging in like, I think our bathing suits.
Yes.
Maybe at a thing.
Yeah.
And one nipple was present.
One nipple was present.
Yeah. There was a singular nipple present.
That would be a really great title for this episode. One nipple was present.
One nipple was present. I think we'd get sued for false advertising.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. I think people would also start with it and be like, all right, here we go. Please don't let it be James. I think that would pretty much be, people would be finding out. All right, guys, we're going to put a single frame. Well, I'm not really doing this. We're going to put a single frame. One of the frames of this episode. It's 30 frames per second. A single frame will be a nipple.
Okay. Whose nipple?
Yeah. Who can find it at what timestamp?
Who can say,
Well, I mean, TOS, but.
What's TOS?
Terms of service, YouTube. We're not taking any risks here.
I know, yeah. No, I also I don't think anyone needs to see anyone's nipple on this show.
Okay, on the show, I agree with. The idea of no one needs to see anyone's nipple.
No.
I'm like, I have spent most of my life needing to see more nipples.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
now I've got a nice loving relationship where we can see more nipples together.
Yes.
Yeah.
The nipple exposure has gone up drastically for you guys. And
no, I'd say low. I'd say the need for new nipples has gone down.
Yes. But I'm saying
but we do still at times seek.
Yeah, but I mean, even within the two of you, you're just seeing each other's nipples a lot.
Yeah, so not new in that scenario.
Not new. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm glad we broke this down. Okay.
Really put a bow on that.
We really did. Also,
we're landing planes and putting on bows.
No, we really are. I think in our what's it called? Bonus show, should we say what our hottest takes are?
I don't know what mine are. Isn't that my job? Don't I say my hottest takes for a living all the time? No one would be surprised by anything.
But
guys, I think religion is destroying the country.
Yes. Yes, but that's not
lukewarm take in our audience.
We need other. Yeah, no, I know. We need other ones. Like one of my hot takes is that, I think traditional weddings in the United States are incredibly selfish. And I don't really care that it's the best day of your life. You actually made such a miserable experience for everyone else.
I love somebody that I'm thinking I might want to marry, but the idea of being married disgusts me.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I was thinking about this when earlier this week, somebody announced we got married, or somebody just told me like, oh, so-and-so, they got married. And my initial response was just, ugh. Why? But I mean, I'm also happy for people who, I was very happy for Promise and Yuka.
Yeah.
But if they could have gotten married without getting married, that would have been even better. It's just the state of being married with the history of it.
Fellas, is it cringe to be married?
It kind of is. Is it gay to be married to a woman? It's pretty gay. It's weird. It's like there's so much wrong with. Imagine if we had something else that was a current day institution. That was on the up and okay, and you had equal access to it if you were a couple, even if you're gay or whatever. But something that pretty much is fine now in a lot of ways, but some people do it, but we still called it slavery. Because the history of marriage is dark like that.
Not great.
Marriage was the transfer of ownership of a father's daughter to their husband.
Yeah.
Like that's the history of and even how marriage happened in the past when people were like marriage between man and woman, that's how God created it. You didn't have a ritual or a ceremony unless you were like royalty in the past. Otherwise, you were married when you fucked.
Yeah.
That's why the biblical history of marriage included how sometimes rape was a marriage. So like it was literally like if you rape a woman, you have to pay her father some number of silver. And then she is your wife.
Horrible. It was horrible.
Right. So like there's just something about that whole thing of like, well, we really cleaned up slavery, so I don't listen. And look, I guess we kind of have kept a sort of like minimum wage is kind of the new slavery in America.
Yeah,
well, no, actually the slavery in America is the new slavery in America. The prison slave system, or there's many things that are just but we also have so much wage theft happening, not to corporations, but to the individuals who are not being paid more while their companies are making record profits on the back of their labor. But I digress socialistly too much. It's just fucking weird, man. And yet, you can love somebody and be like, oh, what if you were my wife, though?
Yeah. And, then and it's
gross.
It's also
disgusting.
So funny to think of like, when I'm thinking about like, is it cringe to be married? I'm like,
kind of.
Don't love me forever. Forever?
Always?
Always? No matter what?
Always you want to be with me and make believe with me and live in harmony always?
Right.
You know that song?
Do I know that song?
Used to play behind the Robot Unicorn Attack. Did you ever play that game?
No.
Everybody's addicted to it on the computer. It's just a side scroller where the unicorn's like hopping from like rock to rock, and it was like, always I wanna be with you and make believe with you and live in harmony always.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm really glad you sang us.
It's a nice song.
Through the end of the pod.
Is this the end? Donald Trump tried to distract from the fact that he's probably a pedophile, or at least that's my opinion. It seems like a pedophile would be protecting people on the Epstein list this hard. And now it feels like the Epstein list, when it is released, we want to be able to trust it, because why did they need to take so much time to redact it? And why do we now know that the FBI has a system in place to flag specifically Donald Trump's name? So could we even trust anything released under this administration? When clearly the time they are taking right now is to modify it to protect the people that they deem necessary to protect. And so what is the basis upon which they are pretending that they need to be protected, if not some sort of national interest because it is the person who's the president? So in the end, we're only going to see a list of people who are like mostly Democrats and Republicans he didn't like, and the people that we actually need to know were on that list won't even be present on it. But also, why don't you just release the full fucking Epstein files? And if in 2018, if in 2026 you don't fucking change the make of the Congress so that we can subpoena everything and get rid of some of these fucking freaks, and also if you don't run on the potential of outing Donald Trump, I don't think you necessarily deserve it. Fucking take that dude out of his position. You can do it. Anyway, all that kind of stuff happened, but we don't have time to get into it.
That was impressive.
Off the top of my head, too.
Wow. That was like a minute and a half.
Sometimes. But I just couldn't remember. What is the word for impeach? I couldn't remember the word impeach. So that's where you saw me. I had a brain block on impeach. I've only eaten potatoes today, people. My brain is running on zero protein, just fats. I think your brain does run on fats. That's probably a dumb excuse. Oh, all right. Well, after the bonus show, we'll try to figure out what each other's other hot takes are. I mean,
I have a bunch.
People could take a hot take a picture of my. No, they couldn't. It's bad. It's a flat butt.
It is
flat.
A froggy butt.
Yeah. If I sing that one song, I was like, always I wanna be with you. That's a good butt. And if I sing it like, always I wanna be with you, that's flat. Yeah. Like my butt.
Right.
I'm not landing fucking shit today.
No, I think you have. There have been some really good gems today. We've giggled.
Yeah, but not when I tried. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
She's laughing at me, not with me.
No, I'm always laughing with you, I think.
I'm not sure this shirt is my color.